actually is the lead play in our offense. Yes, our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. Text us, 865-658-5824. We are live on X. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble. We're live on the antenna TVs. I'm just joking. We don't touch that. Here we go. But I'm joined alongside Tim, live in Green Bay. That hoodie looking fresh. I ain't even going to lie, man. It's just straight.
That. Kind of do the old school logo, man.
That's clean right there. Absolutely. Jacob, how you doing, big dog?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Did a little shout out right here from Rumble. If you guys aren't over there, maybe go check us out. Just saying.
Absolutely, man. Hey, it's been growing like crazy. I'm getting notifications in the email. It seems like every day people, whatever they call it, liking, following, and everything. So it's definitely growing on that platform as well. We're just trying to cover all the bases for you guys and gals and make sure that we keep things rolling along here. But it's been good, man. Been really good. I know we're all recovering from the Easter festivities, right? No better way to celebrate your appreciation for the resurrection of our Lord and Savior than just eating way too much. It's funny how we've gotten to this point, right? It's just, Jacob, you're hurting too, ain't you, Linda?
Yeah, I am. And by the way, if you guys remember, me and Clayton did an early Easter Day podcast where I let him know that I'm going to be watching Little Giants, which I hadn't watched in years. I'm talking years, but I remembered in my head. I'm like, this is one of my all-time favorite movies. I rewatched it, and it's very rare that you can go back like 20 years later, watch a movie from your childhood, and it completely stands up. If anything, it was better than I remembered because I started getting all the little. They have like these random jokes that are kind of adult in there every now and then. And it's like, it wasn't an age where everything was sissified. So it was like, it was great. It's just great.
It's so good, man. It really is. And we sat down there and laughed. We watched it twice yesterday. Just let it loop through. So good, man. Such a good movie, man. They don't make them like that anymore. And I know I'm Papaw Bailey now. That's why I used to hear people say it when I was a kid and I'm going, whatever. Now I'm the one saying it. Right. So, anyway, let's do this real quick before we get to the chat and give a shout out to everybody. Yeah, SDM40 says Sandlot aged well too. Yeah, somebody asked me yesterday, I can't remember who it was. It was someone on my brother-in-law's side was like, I've never seen Little Giants. I'm like, you seen the Sandlot? Like, yeah, it's the football version. That's exactly what I said. It's the football version of Sandlot. So it's solid, man. But speaking of solid, let's give a shout out to our sponsor of tonight's show, Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live, Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packers tickets. They are Wisconsin's largest ticket source. They've got offices next to Lambeau Field as well as in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in this video description, and that will send you to theticketking.com where you can register for free as a customer and get yourself ready for that May schedule release. Get ahead of the curve there. They're going to be able to save you a bunch of money this year on Packers tickets. Make sure you check with them before you seal the deal there with some of the bigger name companies. I'm telling you, they're going to be able to save y'all some money. It's something they take pride in, is saving money for Packer fans every single season. So again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. We appreciate them supporting the show. So we've got several things we can hit on here. I know, Jacob, me and you, we've been tossing some stuff back and forth the last few days. As you get closer to the draft, you want to talk about who are the players who are the Packers interested in. I had someone email me 2 weeks ago, so great minds think alike. Someone actually emailed me and said, hey, you should do a breakdown of all the players that the Packers are visiting with. I don't think we have enough time to do that as much as I would like to, but we are going to go through and talk about those players as we get to that portion of the show tonight. And, some of these are kind of a little bit overkill. They're not necessarily top 30 visits, and that water gets a little muddied when you kind of dive into it. But we'll kind of hit on some of that stuff as well. But first things first here, we had Rob Domofsky tweeted us out, catching up on a couple of Packers contracts. So the numbers finally dropped on these. Eric Wilson, 1 year, $1.3 million with $167,000 signing bonus with a $1.21 base salary. And then, of course, Christian Welch, 1 year, $1.2 million with a $20,000 signing bonus and a workout bonus as well, $45,000 in roster bonus and a $2,647 per game active. So a couple players I think those are huge signings. Eric Wilson, great special teams player. Christian Welch kind of in that same vein there. Eric Wilson surprised me when we pulled the PFF numbers too the other day, guys. He graded out as the best, I think the best inside linebacker on our entire roster. It's just we always throw that caveat, not a whole lot of snaps, but I think he did play over 100 snaps though. So not a really a very small sample size, was it, Jacob? I mean, that's pretty good for what he was asked to do.
Yeah, and if you guys remember, it seems like that every year, even since he was back at the Vikings, people are like, Eric Wilson just seems to overperform, more than what we're asking of him, what he should be, I guess, as far as value-wise for where he was drafted or not drafted or where he sits on a team's roster. And then again, if you look at that, what was it, 1.3 you said there? I mean, that's for maybe a top 10, top 5 special teams player in the league. To me,
Right.
That doesn't seem too much at all. So.
Mm-hmm. Completely agree.
Well, it's crazy still because, compare that. Isn't that basically A.J. Dillon's contract?
It's wild, man. And the thing about A.J. Dillon's contract, too, is they can still cut him loose and not be on the hook for anything.
That's right.
So, I don't want to see that happen. I mean, that's the last thing we want to see happen, especially when you got one of these gyms right here.
Oh, real quick.
John Deere green on a hot summer night. Hero.
What was you saying, Jake?
Now, am I on the devil's lettuce, or did I see an article about Matt LaFleur supposedly saying something about A.J. Dillon could maybe mold into a DeGuara / fullback role? Did anybody see that?
You may have. We had someone ask us about it on the show the other day, didn't we, Tim? And we talked about it, but I don't
Maybe
think
I was watching you. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe you were on the devil's lettuce and you were
Maybe I
watching. Let's give a shout out real quick to the chat. We got Greg in the house. We got M. Smitty, United Bates. Let's see, Mark Zambito, Ron Samble, Debfish, Brent, SDN 40 in here causing trouble as always.
See, guys, I'm not high.
Yeah. Coach Lynn said he saw that, or Coach Lynn maybe is on the double.
Dave here says, yeah. Melton Corey, come on, guys, don't do me like this.
All right, got it.
Gaslight me.
We got Mr. Larry in the house. Good to see you, bub. Dave James, which I'm sure that's the same Dave James. Let's give a quick shout out to our Patreon members, newest members of the PTA posse over there. We got David James, we got Greg in Green Bay, and we got Rich Beck all signed up as PTA posse members. Appreciate y'all supporting the show, and we'll make sure that we get you guys entered into the running for the autographed Paul Hornung jersey. With all the accolades and everything, obviously sewn on the back of that jersey. Really cool piece of memorabilia. It's actually this jersey right there. So we'll give that away. Round 1, night 1 of the draft. Guys, it's coming quick. I'm telling you, man. It's going to be here in the blink of an eye. I'm so excited about it, man. So excited. So appreciate everybody swinging through, though. I know Fantasy Sports Corporation in the house. We got Milltown Corey. It's everybody following in here. We got a herd in here this evening. Good to see you.
Mike Hebring in the house.
Mike Hebring coming here to set the record straight. What up, Mike? Good to see you, buddy. Mark Zambito in the chat says, I think they should hold off on running back. Next year is a great draft for running back. That's the thing, too. You get many people, many Packers fans, Tim, that they're like, oh, man, well, you got to take a running back. You got to take a running back. And then there's others that are like, you see in their mocks, they're not really touching the running backs. From what I've gathered from people that I respect, this year's running back market, the draft is really down. Some of these players here, if none of these guys would be even considered in that top, that top tier from last year's draft. What I mean by that is what's his name down there? Bijan Robinson, right? Your boy there in Gibbs in Detroit. These guys don't even come close to stacking up to them, right? Now, I understand everybody's got their favorites. Obviously, we got a lot of Wisconsin fans that are really big on Braylon Allen. That's cool. Trey Benson, hands down, is my best running back. Audric Estime I had him a little bit lower on my board, but being a Notre Dame fan, I'm all about that too, Tim. But how do you feel about that as far as running back, man? It seems like it's a little down this year, right? You got to get the sixth tier, I think, before you get to the first running back according to the 33rd team.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been down this rabbit hole a few times. I think each of us has taken a running back in the draft in our mocks, but it was definitely later rounds.
Just like this, like M. Smitty's saying right here.
Yeah, M. Smitty says, personally, I would go for a later round running back, if at all, like Davis. I like Davis, or he said like Davis from Sandy.
That's
or
Emilio's draft routes. That's Emilio's.
Let's see where he's at. So we're looking for Davis from South Dakota. Is that, yeah, right here. So there you see him. I don't know if you can see my cursor. I guess you cannot. But he's in the 6.2 range there, about 2/3 of the way down. So he's in that 6.2 tier, I guess you could say. So I just love horizontal boards, man. They tell you so much about the draft, the depth, everything at each position. So
yeah, I mean, that's telling right there. I mean, you're not getting anything remotely exciting unless you're talking about Benson or Corum, Estime, some of these guys, Brooks, in that range. Yeah. And hey, look, we got Josh Jacobs, man. We got Josh Jacobs. We got AJ Dillon. We've got Emmanuel Wilson, who is, I don't know if you guys saw what he posted today.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's putting in work, much like
he's looking
putting in work during this offseason. Our running back room right now with those three, I feel really good about. However, we know, seasons can be a grind, and nobody's 100% all the time. So bringing in, young talent is not a bad idea, but I totally agree. It's going to be late in this draft. There's no reason to go early and take a running back. If somebody's on the board later rounds, absolutely.
Yeah. Like Coach Lynn says here, I like this year's running back class, not top heavy, but a bunch of depth. And you see it there in that 6.5 range right here, right? You got Trey Benson, Audric Estime, Jonathan Brooks, Will Shipley, and Blake Corum all in that 6.5 range. And again, if we go to our key here on our grading scale, 6.5 is a lower end starter. So they believe that's starting quality, right? So it doesn't mean that the running back class is horrible. It's just you don't have those 2 or 3 guys at the very top of the draft like you normally do in the tier 1 or 2. So
do you think that there's any truth? Because I've heard multiple people over the years say, like, running back is one of those positions that you could actually get away with in the UDFA market. Like, and you get later round running backs. I mean, didn't we get Jones in the 5th, the 4th from UTEP?
It was 5th, I think. Yeah, I believe it was the 5th round. If I remember.
I mean, and a lot of these guys that kind of just sneak in, and it's like there's so many, they're dime a dozen, and it seems like their NFL lifespan is so short that if certain guys have kind of like a different niche or a certain type of quality, that maybe they can slip into those higher rounds or completely slip out of the draft, and then you get them just as a guy walking off the street, which I don't know what to think about that. But remember Sam Gatto?
Oh, dude, he was one of my favorites. I don't know why, but I loved watching that dude. It seemed like he had a big preseason, and then
Tony
he carried
Fisher.
Dude, I actually got I think it was my first time at Lambeau Field. Don't tell anybody, but I was filming from the stands. You know what I'm saying? But the underage Packer fans right now, your Big B's and your Caden, they're over there going, rookie. We've been doing this real well. So Tony Fisher, I caught him on a swing pass, right? Favre, drop back, quick little 3-step drop, swung it out. And I mean, I'm right on the goal line. It's beautiful. Just a perfect shot of him squeezing in under a defender and getting the touchdown. So, yeah, I remember Tony Fisher. Where did he go to school? Do you guys remember? It's Notre Dame. That's right. I knew it. Anyway. Mark Zambito said next year the running back market is very strong, or the running back class is very strong. So it's typically how it happens, right? Like last year, it seemed like the wide receiver at the top was a little bit down, right? This year, it's kind of top heavy. At least according to the 33rd team, you can see here they've got 5 in the first 4 tiers. They've got 3 in the first 2 tiers. Last year, the tight end class was really strong. This year, it's kind of weak. You got Bowers sitting there in the 6.8 range. You've got Jatavion Sanders in a 6.7 range. Then, of course, you got a cluster of guys there at 6.5 with Theo Johnson. You got Wiley, you got Stover, and you got Holker out of Colorado State there.
Can I ask you a question, Clayton and Tim? Yeah. That one of the Wisconsin's best, Mr. Peter Bukowski, I think he posted it today. He said, and honestly, it's a good question. It's a good question. I'm just saying.
I love how he has to preface. He literally go, guys, this isn't bad. This isn't bad.
So
I mean, he does do it for
says
a
if
living,
it-
guys. So
He
it's
does
probably
it for a
good
living.
question.
We should know that. So if it gets to 25 and we've got he said this kind of players, I think Kool-Aid was there. I think that there was Graham Barton and there was JPJ. There was a few other guys, but he said Goody tells you cannot choose an inside offensive lineman. Basically, who are you picking here? And it was like Chop Robinson, and there was a couple other guys, and it was kind of an interesting scenario. But like, is there a guy that you guys could see? Would you have to go? Would it be Kool-Aid?
Is if you talking about just like based off of just recent mocks, and you couldn't go offensive lineman? Is that what you said, Jacob?
You couldn't go interior.
Interior offensive line.
Gotcha.
So you can't do Graham Barton per se, but
Yeah, the problem I have is every mock draft's just a little bit different. You know what I mean? So there's not been anywhere it's like, okay, this is consistently the way it is. What we have uncovered, I know Tim and I had a conversation about it the other day, is I think it was yesterday actually, is if you don't get your cornerback early, then you've really got to wait until you get that second wave, right? I mean, it drops off quick. You kind of got almost, I don't want to say the pick of the litter, but you've got some really good quality at 25 for the cornerback position. But by the time you get to 41, man, it dwindles down quick. That's the only problem with that. So I would be totally cool with Kool-Aid McKinstry. I mean, you see here the 33rd team has him as their best cornerback. They're at 6.8. I've got him fairly high on mine. I've got him as the second best corner in the 18 spot on mine. I've got Quinyon Mitchell in the top spot on my board. Now, you see they've got Quinyon Mitchell. I think he is a little bit lower. Yeah, he's
lower than my boy Ennis Rakestraw. Yeah.
You've been on the table for Rakestraw, Tim, since day one, man. There ain't no doubt about that. And did he have a bad combine, Jacob? Am I thinking right? Is that what kind of drove
he
you?
He had a very bad one, and he was one of those. That was the one that prompted whoever that gentleman is, Math Block, I believe it was, on Twitter, that because he pointed out that he had like a 2.3 RAS or something that bad, and somebody commented, is this really indicative as to whether or not they're going to be good? And then he posted another one following up saying that if anybody has under this certain score, which Ennis was, that only 2 cornerbacks had ever made the Pro Bowl. So,
gotcha. There you go. Let's see here.
That's not saying something because he's a Missouri dude. Those Missouri defenders are freaking. Those guys can ball. So I think that could be one of those things where it's like a Kyle Hamilton, a Brian Branch, where they don't test well, but they're just football players and they're just good.
Definitely. M. Smitty here in the chat said Newton was on that list, and that is who I would go with. He's talking about Newton. Who are we talking about, Newton?
Jerzan Newton.
Jerzan. Oh God.
Yeah, going D-line instead. Yeah, that's a move. But then what happens with your corners?
Yeah.
And so if we play that game like Jacob's saying here, or I guess that was Peter Bukowski's question. If you can't go interior O-line at 25. Which I don't know. That seems kind of like why would my general manager have that on his mind? Well, we can't take interior offensive line. Why not? Why not? That's the only thing wrong with this offense right now. Correct?
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. Graham Barton played a lot of snaps at left tackle and did some interior stuff and some center stuff, I think. So it's like that's a jack of all trades. That's kind the most valuable guy.
Reminds you of Zach Tom a little bit. Exactly. He's like a Swiss Army knife on the offensive line.
Or Elton Jenkins.
Since you mentioned Graham Barton here, roster reset. This was tweeted out by the 33rd team. And they said quarterback Jordan Love, right? This is just kind of a lineup they posted. Running back Josh Jacobs, wide receiver Christian Watson, wide receiver Romeo Dobbs, wide receiver Jaden Reed, tight end Luke Musgrave, left tackle Rasheed Walker, right tackle Zach Tom, and also on the offensive line there with picks from our mock draft would be Graham Barton. You guys know I'm big on Graham Barton right now, man. I would be totally on board with that. Obviously, as we drop that down, the 33rd team has Graham Barton in the 6.6. He's leading the 6.6 tier there. And, of course, if you go to the grading scale, 6.6 is the upper echelon of the lower end starter grade. So they think he could start right away coming in. There and obviously work himself up into a little bit better role. So that's where they've got Barton. Of course, I've got Graham Barton. I got him listed as a tackle, but overall on my vertical board, I've got him in the 23 spot. So I would be totally on board with that. Milltown Corey says, but is Graham Barton a big nasty or a big softy? This is a family program here, Milltown Corey. Okay, so let's watch what we speak. It's a good point though. Like you want those guys that are a little bit
Finishers.
nasty in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
You want guys that if there's a pile up, he's gonna grab an inner thigh or something and just, you know what I'm talking about, Jake. If you've been on the bottom of them piles,
Oh, dude.
things happen on the bottom of them piles.
So this is who I was just gonna say, because today I watched a video of him. It was a little, it's obviously a highlight cut up or whatever, but this guy, he's a finisher, and he wants to put you on the ground, and then he's gonna lay on you and tell you that you're not getting up. It's kind of resembling was it Rasheed Walker who did the old finisher move?
Oh yeah, it was. He
family
finished,
program. It's a family show, guys.
he finished the show, though. He did finish the show. No doubt about it. That I love the fact that we were like, who's this Rasheed Walker guy? And the only thing we could find on him highlight wise on draft night was him humping that other line on the ground. I love it. You mentioned BB though. They've got him. They being the 33rd team. They've got him in the 6.4 range. He's leading that over Von Prawn and Zinter. Okay, is where they've got Connor Beebe. Now they've got guards and centers in the same, obviously in the same column here. So the 33rd team a little lower on Beebe than some are. I want to say he made my top 100. He's actually 37th on my board. So yeah, he's pretty high up there. I like Cooper Beebe according to how we rounded out the draft board there for sure.
This is my favorite pick in the draft right here, Mason McCormick.
Big on Mason McCormick.
Yep, another guy that would be Tucker Kraft's alma mater.
Okay, let's see here. Now he's interior, right? Am I thinking or not? Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go how far down they've got him.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Is he even on the board? They don't even have him on the
tackle. Did he play tackle or something? Maybe they're projecting him.
It could be. Yeah. Let's take a quick glance at tackle, looking for Mason McCormick. He is not on their horizontal board as it sits. Now that may change in the coming days, right? There's still going to be some more that they're going to add, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I don't see him there. Let's see if I don't think I've got McCormick in my top 100 either. Let me just make sure real quick.
Well, usually when I get him, it's going to be around like the 100 pick. We get him around the 91 or 88 or whatever the one is. So it's, but it's just he's in a cluster of guys. We're also the right guard from, is it Mahanahay from Boston College that was with Hafley again. So that'd be a cool one as well. So it stinks because I've done so many mock drafts that I'm like, oh, I really know what I'm talking about. But all I've done is just created a pattern of guys that I'm going to pick every time at certain picks.
Right.
I'm just an idiot that's just locking in all my stuff.
No, if you're an idiot, we're all idiots because we do the same thing. We're like, yep, get pass up on him. All right, I've done 6 mock drafts and they're all the same every single time.
Or at least a few common players, right? You may take them with a different pick, but you're still gravitating towards your guys.
Something
the guy.
Yeah. Something else you do too is you train yourself to go, okay, I'm going to reach on the first pick. So my guys are always there the rest of the draft.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're just kind of cheating the entire.
Speaking of training, I found that Emmanuel Wilson clip.
Oh, let's see.
Really? I don't know if you want to run
here real quick.
Look at Jamie bringing up clips live.
I know. Oh, there it is. Sorry, Tim. Let's see it.
Let's. I got it muted
here. Yeah, definitely mute it. There you go. Good call.
Just a little
Look
bit
at
of
boy here. Oh, looking thick, man. Like is that a Bruce Lee shirt? Is that a little Bruce Lee?
Love it.
Oh yeah, dude. He's that's a man on a mission. He is in shape. Look at. I feel like what's his name? God, what's the comedian? We y'all come look at this. Somebody come look at this. Who is it? Kevin Hart, right?
Kevin Hart. Yeah, that's funny. I'll tell you what I like is I like seeing him out here with the helmet on. Mm-hmm. It kind of sets a tone. It puts you in that mindset. It gets you in those habits.
Yeah.
You know.
Here's the thing, though. He's running routes. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Like what's up with that, guys?
What's up with that?
He's a young running back in a Matt LaFleur offense, and he knows that the more versatile his game is, the more snaps he's probably going to see on the field. He also knows that he's, behind Josh Jacobs and AJ Dillon on the depth chart, and I'm sure he's just trying to, keep adding weapons. But I love to see it, man. This is just like what we saw with Tay Wicks, willing to put in the grind, and a lot of guys are probably. Crashing their cars on the freeway now and, things like that we see. And there's a lot of stuff that happens during the off season. But it's good to see our Packers out here putting in work, man. But I'll tell you, it's just like We talked about this before. I bring this up all the time. Preston Smith said it that when they cleaned out their lockers, that they need to go out, leave this building, and have a championship offseason, come back ready to go for 2024. And we're here. I mean, we're only a few weeks left away from the draft, and then before you know it, man, it'll be OTAs and camp, and off we go.
We're exactly 2 weeks away from players reporting.
Yep.
For the first offseason activity. Now, if I understood correctly, the teams with the new head coaches, they should have been able to report today, I believe. So kind of cool there. M. Smitty in the house says, but can he block, per Tim's words?
He can block.
That's Emilio.
I was gonna say that's Emilio's words.
Yeah, close enough though. Close enough. All right, let's see what else we got here. Look here, Milltown Corey. April Fools. That was a stunt double. Which, by the way, you got hit with an April Fools earlier today, didn't you, Jacob?
Oh, dude, I got hit by like 18 of them. I'm that idiot where I keep scrolling through Twitter and I'm like, oh no. And then it takes me like
Scoot got you good though.
Yeah.
That one got me actually really good because that guy's so off the wall sometimes, and he's great, but he's a fun follow because you never know exactly what's coming out of that tweet machine there.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I went, oh my gosh, no, please tell me this is not true. And then I sent it to them in the group chat. Immediately felt like an idiot, and then had to justify it by being like, never mind, I get it now. You got me.
Yeah, Papa Watson's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're
going to go get.
I love that he's his own person, though, man. You could tell he's not conforming to anybody. He's going to tell you his opinion. I can get along with people like that. What I can't stand is those that are just the backbiting and the fake. Yep. You know what I mean? It's just constantly, how can I create an angle here to make myself look smarter, make myself, that drives me insane.
Okay.
Let's do this. Yeah, go ahead.
This is not football related, but I had to I shared something on X right before we went live here. I need y'all to go on to there and just let me know. Please tell me this bug is fake. That this somehow is fake. That this isn't a real bug. That it lives in the world, or else I may just leave. I don't know what to do. This bug. I'm telling you guys, it's not. Even
hold up a minute. So
it's on Jacob's page. You should be able to find it.
All right, let's see if we can find it.
I don't want to do it. It literally is one of those.
I'm not going to pull it up. I'm not going to pull it up on screen. I just want to take a look.
Oh, you should pull it up on screen.
Let's see.
I mean,
all right.
Hey, this is another good point right here by Zambito, which even if this is true, which I think I did hear this as well. Imagine the fact that Wilson is taking that really wholeheartedly and that he is putting in this work. If anything, that makes me more excited to see the guy. It's not that he's trying to overcompensate. It's that, right here. LaFleur said that he needed to get more of an NFL condition. Because if you guys remember, we had a little bit of early snaps as the game went on, and we had to take him out because he got winded, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I'm seeing the tweet now. SDM40 said Jacob worrying about a bug is hilarious. That ain't no bug. It look like a damn pterodactyl over there, bro. What is that thing, Jacob?
Conspiracy.
I'm gonna go ahead and just it's CGI. It's got to be.
Are you being real? Please tell me that's real.
It's got. I mean, that's my reaction. I think.
Tell me it's not real. Tell me it's not real, please.
We need to create. Yeah. Thank you, Smitty. Exactly. Sorry to derail the pod. Yeah, I know. We're blaming you. This has nothing to do with us. I promise.
Wait, who are the people that live in Australia? Can we please let us know? Do you guys have bugs the size of freaking birds there?
It's my favorite.
What's going on?
First of all, apparently you've never been to Georgia because they have bugs the size of birds in Georgia too.
You need to go back home to old Harlan County, Kentucky, down there in the Appalachian.
Yeah.
They got them on leashes. They got bugs on leashes down there.
Oh my God. Dude, that's why up north we get half the year to freeze them, kill them all out. They can't get that big by the next year.
Yeah, I'm just trusting my gut on this. I think it's fake.
Look at Martin
Cross. It's fake
Martin
news.
Cross says conspiracy bugs. I love how we never let the video get past that barrel-chested Coach Belichick there, right? It's like, we've seen enough. Let's get out of here. All right, let's get back on. Can we get back on track, Jacob? Stop
talking about football again, or
talking about Giggle Bush, Devil's Lettuce, bugs, all kinds of stuff on here, man. Yeah, I like number one. Yeah, Carly Ray said it's fake. I like number one Packer fan. Jacob looked tough as hell, scared of bugs. LOL.
I am. That's my biggest fear. I'll grab a snake, rat, nothing. If you bring me a bug,
Oh man, Eric Sutherland. Oh my gosh. Don't put it on the screen.
Everybody immediately goes to the chat. All right, let's get back on track here. Eric, don't come in here starting your crap. All right, let's get back to DJ. Let's get back to the draft here. All right. Daniel Jeremiah said, quick PSA, the pro day 40 times that get reported on here are oftentimes vastly different than the actual times you get from the NFL teams. Immediately what I thought of when I read this, guys, was Jaden Reed last year, right? What happened with Jaden Reed? It was RAS in the tank, this and that. And then, of course, the Packers draft, and they come out and said, no, they had a much better 40 time on him, right? So, Jacob, you're going to have to control your emotions over there. So Tim's smart. Tim just cut the camera off. There you go, Jacob. What do you think the chances are there's a bug in that beard out there, Jacob?
I don't want to talk about it.
All right. So something else that DJ said, and we'll kind of look on the horizontal board here. I think this will be interesting. First of all, I love the fact that DJ is just like, he doesn't care what people thinks about him. He's going to tell you what's on his mind. Obviously, yesterday said he is risen. Happy Easter. Obviously, his dad's a pastor. Daniel Jeremiah is just a stand-up dude, man. You always see him treat people fair. He's just so professional, so respectful. Love that dude. Seeing him get emotional over Chris Mortensen when Chris Mortensen passed was just like, God, I love this dude. He was so thankful for Chris Mortensen's friendship and how he helped him kind of become, coming to his own as an announcer / TV personality. It's really cool. So the other thing he said here, though, in the tweet attached there, or a little bit later, I guess earlier today, said toughest positions to stack this year are running back and safety. There's a clump of guys with the same exact grades. I think we see a huge run on both positions, late second to mid third round. So we're talking running backs and safeties clumped up. Now, if we go back to the 33rd team here, we talked about running back, right? What do you see here, fellas? Big old clump there, don't we? At that 6.5 range, you got Trey Benson, Audric Estime, Jonathan Brooks, Will Shipley, Blake Corum, and then you got to drop all the way down. And from the 6'2 to 6'3 range, you see it. There is a ton of guys that are just same grades, right? Now, if we go safety here, let me see if I can slide over. So the only thing that sucks about this, you got to get to the bottom of the screen to kind of get over. If we look at safeties, similar thing, right? You got Newman and Kinchins that are, fairly higher than everyone else. They're in the 6.7 range.
There's some guys.
Yeah. Then you got to drop down 2 empty tiers. And then here's that cluster he's talking about. You've got Bishop. Was that Cole Bishop? Am I thinking right? What's his first name? Do you remember?
Cole.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Bishop from, I think it's Utah. You've got Hicks from Washington State. Oladapo. How do you say his name, Jacob? I say Oladapo, but I've heard.
You know what? Now I'm honestly I heard that his first name's Keaton. Oladapo or Oladapo. I don't know anything anymore, man.
I called him Kitten, and I got raked over the coals.
I heard it was Catan.
Who? Exactly. So we got Javon Bullard, your boy there, clustered in there. You got Malik Mustafa, Tim, I think he had like a 41.5-inch vertical, I think. Yep. Like, you talking about some explosion on that cat, dude. Holy cow. And then you got Simpson out of Auburn, and you got Bullock out of USC. So I think that's the cluster he's talking about. And again, we were talking about Daniel Jeremiah saying not the 40 times, but talking about running back and safety. There's a clump of guys with the same exact grades. This is, once again, you look at the 33rd team's horizontal board, and it lines up with what he's saying. It doesn't mean they're going to agree on every single player, but overall depth of the horizontal board, where the positions of value are early in the draft, a little later in the draft, you're going to see a run on those guys according to Daniel Jeremiah there in the second and third round. So I'm excited for the first round because it's kicking things off. But man, that second and third round is going to be one heck of a show, dude. I cannot wait for that. It's going to be awesome. And Smitty in the chat said, I think it's Jake that says Oladapo is what he says. I've always said Oladapo. But if it is Oladapo, has been sneaking up in mock drafts. Last one I ran had him going in the late third. There you go. So he is definitely on the rise. No doubt about that.
Rising up.
Yeah, Coach Lynn, Mustafa rising up the boards too. That's a great point. That's someone we kind of had a raised eyebrow at early on. We kept popping up. That was even before we picked up Xavier McKinney. So I still think Mustafa would probably fit in well.
He's a thumper. He's a thumper. If you watch his tape, he likes to hit. He isn't afraid to hit.
Yeah, currently the 33rd team has him as the 89th ranked player too. So That's kind of where he's fallen in. He's in their top 100 at that 6.4 range.
Look at
There's
this.
our 91 pick right there, man. Book it.
Oladipo?
Oladipo.
Is it? Hold up, man. Is this April Fool's or not, guys? That's why we shouldn't even do a show.
I can't believe anything today. This is
Oladipo. Okay, never mind. Well, we're spending way too much time on this.
Yeah, you're good.
If we look at Mustafa's entire page here, I think it'll pull it up. I always hate doing this because it really throws everything off where it's got to load the scouting report. Let's take a look, though, at Oladipo, right? 89th overall, 7th at the safety.
Oh, no, this is Malik. Mustafa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Malik Mustafa was the one y'all want to talk about. Let's go Malik Mustafa. He's 89th overall. Thank you for that correction there. 7th at the safety position, 6.4 grade, 5'10", 209, decent size, right? Little, you'd like to see him crack 6 foot there. He's from Charlotte, North Carolina. It says Mustafa is a rangy, athletic safety whose versatility to play all over the field should allow him to contribute in multiple facets of the game, but a lack of height, what we just said, and inefficient pursuit angles likely hold him back from being a starting level defender. Okay. His strengths are his range, hip fluidity, and mobility, as well as his aggressiveness. His weaknesses are pursuit angles, FBI, and his size. Now,
so the only weakness you can't really do anything about is size, other than I guess he could get a little bigger or stronger. I mean, he's not going to magically grow 5 inches. But football intelligence, you can coach that. You can coach that up. You can make a guy understand this game more. And same thing with pursuit angles. I got a feeling in the right system that that can be corrected. So those aren't glaring negatives to me.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. The FBI worries me a touch.
Yeah,
just because you want those smart players. It's not to say that they can't learn and evolve when they get to the NFL, but you want those players coming in the league that's like, okay, this dude, he really shows a high level of intelligence on the football field.
Do you get how they grade that? Like, is there any sort of actual, like, whose opinion is it that he doesn't have quote unquote football intelligence? Like, is it just?
I imagine with the scouting report here that Nathan Cooper did, and you can actually go. This is what's cool. You can go to the full scouting report, right? It'll break everything down. We won't bore you with everything. It breaks down his passing game, the run game, his last word, all that. So the full scouting report, probably what it means, Jacob, is what they've seen on tape is they've probably seen him, kind of late reaction early in the play.
It's like a vision thing or a play diagnosis or
bingo. Yeah. That's typically, what they're talking about is, and that's the thing too, that like when you see some of these other, higher end safeties, I personally, and I don't mean to dog on the guy, but I didn't see it with our boy Cam Kinchins. I still to this day don't understand why people are so high on Cam Kinchins. But when the 33rd team has him up there, I got to check my ego at the door and go, okay,
I think Jake loves him too. Jake Shavink loves him too.
Right. Yeah. Nubin, I see it. Nubin is just all around the ball. I think he either tied or broke the school record for interceptions. And he's just one of those dudes that he plays with his eyes. And that's usually indicative of, high FBI, right? Now watch us click on it here and it'll say Nubin has a low FBI. That'd be just the way it would go here. But at least that's what I've seen when I've watched the tape is like, it just seems like he gets a step ahead of everyone else by seeing the play before it happens. Now, obviously, Tyler Nubin, this is my top safety on my board as well, 33rd team's top safety. I would love to see the Packers go after him and get kind of aggressive to have him play in the box. 6'2", 199 pounds from St. Charles, Illinois. Probably a Bears fan growing up. Let's just go ahead and snatch one away from that fan base. You know what I'm saying? 23rd overall on the board, first at the safety position, 6.7 grade. Obviously, that's a strong starter. So not only is he a starter, but it's going to be one of those guys, probably one of the best football players on your team starting as a rookie, according to the scouting report. So, yeah, here you go. Bing. I promise I did not look at this. I'm just telling you what I liked about him. Strengths right off the bat. Well, first of all, let's just read a little mini scouting report. It says Nubin has the ball skills, natural instincts, and reliability and coverage to be a consistent starting level safety at the next level. Strengths are FBI and awareness, zone coverage instinct. Some people heard FBI. Eric Sutherland just left the chat. He thinks he's in trouble here. So, FBI and awareness, zone coverage instincts, ball skills, and playmaking ability. His weaknesses are change of direction quickness. You've seen that with the pro day, right? Poor angles, rallying to the ball, and then man coverage, which typically if you've got those that poor quickness grades, you're not very good at man coverage, right? Sometimes, as we've seen on the Packers many years, you can have those great combine numbers and still struggle, obviously in man coverage. But again, 6'1", decent height. The 199 is in the blue. Obviously, you want to put a few pounds on him, like we said before. Draft him, Tim. Get a couple cheese curds in his belly. He'll be good to go up there in Wisconsin. They'll take care of him. Little spotted cow. He's ready to roll. Hand size a little small. 3-level impact. Play speed is a 6. 3-level impact's a 6. FBI/instincts is a 6. Man coverage is a 5. So it's not like terribly low. It's not like it's in the blue, right? But he's definitely a better zone cover. Safety going to be playing in the box. Range is a 5. Ball skills/tracking is a 6. Tackling is a 6. Blitzing is a 5. Physicality is a 5. Communications 7. And then special teams value as well as a 6. So there you go. That's how that falls. And I've never really, let's see here. Ron Sanville says Newbin was working through injury when testing. They pointed that out too. That's what I'm saying. Like, everything about him to me screams, if he falls to the Packers at 41, you're going to get great value just because of the circumstances that surround him. You know what I'm saying, Jacob? Like, it's like that's what's drove him down on the board. When you watch the tape, you see a top safety, I think.
So you're over him at 25?
Well, here's the thing. When you look at the 25th spot, it depends on who board you're looking at, right? Let's bounce back real quick. Let me go to the regular board. And let's see, I probably could have just clicked on his name, but let's just do it this way real quick and see.
They had him 33rd.
They got him 33rd. So they've got him in the 33. No, they don't. Okay.
No, they don't.
Yeah, there's Cam Kinchins. Tyler Newbin, they got in the 23.
Right.
Yeah. So they got him in the 23 spot, right? I have got him in the 28 spot. I would be totally okay with him at 25. Totally okay with it.
I mean, at 41, I would.
The thing you got to ask yourself, though, and I hate doing this, but again, it's important to talk about, discuss, and study precedent. When was the last time Goody took a first-round pick that had such a low RAS, right?
Yeah,
it just doesn't happen. So that's why I'm trying to set myself up to not be disappointed when they don't take him at 25 and be like, okay, probably 41 makes a little more sense, but somebody's going to fall in love with the dude, man. You watch the tape, it's a wild, man. Yeah, he just had knee surgery. That's right, Milltown Cordy, and it was more of a clean out than anything. To me, that's a good thing. That's kind
of what they did to Watson, wasn't it, before the year?
I think there's a couple of different things that can happen with the clean outs. With Watson, as we uncovered right here on the show, which was wild. I interviewed Christian Watson's mom, and we didn't make a big deal out of it because I didn't want to put pressure on her. I didn't want the team to go to him and be like, hey, your mom just spilled the beans on a stupid podcast with a redneck. You know what I mean? One of those things. But she basically told us, she put it all to bed. I didn't ask her either. She just said, I'll just tell you, it's probably common knowledge. I was thinking, no, it ain't, mama. But he basically had floating cartilage in his knee is what it was. And they discovered it going into camp. So they went, if I remember correctly, going into camp. So they just took the time to go in there and clean that cartilage out. Those type of clean outs are a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
I had forgotten that she told us that like pretty well in advance when that was public knowledge.
Oh, it absolutely was. Absolutely.
It was kind of incredible.
Yeah. And I had some people going, Clay, man, you broke news. You need to tell everybody. And I'm going, I don't want to put pressure on them, dude. Like, you know what I mean? The last thing I want is her going, crap, I got my son in trouble with the team. Luckily, the show was so small and nobody watched this joke of a show that nobody even caught it. So we were good to go either way. Our listeners, our loyal listeners, were like, man, this is good information. There's nothing to worry about with his knee. And yeah, the people that didn't hear it, it's like a tree falling in the woods, right? Did it really happen, Tim? Did it happen? Also, right. Does a bear crap in the woods, right? That's the other question everybody wants to know. So what do you think, Jacob? Do they?
Well, we know the Bears crap during the season.
Tim, you stole my joke.
Give me some rim shot there. Go ahead there, Tim. You deserve it, man.
Oh, my God.
Very well played.
I feel bad. I'm sorry, Jacob. My bad.
No, you don't. I can tell you don't.
So, again, talking about that safety position, if we stick to the vertical board here for just a second and what DJ said, right, and you look at just the overall numbers of rankings, you've got Tyler Newbin and Cam Kinchins, and then look at this cluster of guys. Cole Bishop at 81, Jaden Hicks at 82, Keaton, Kitten, Cotton, Oladipo is at 83, You got Javon Bullard at 88.
That's my pick. There you go.
It's your boy. You can't say Javon Bullard without Jacob chiming in. I love it. And, dude, I got to be honest. When we watched that highlight reel that day together, I was like, I think Jacob found one here. And he's rising on boards too, from what I understand. Malik Mustafa at 89, Jalen Simpson at 92, and then Kalen Bullock at 97. I mean, you're talking about in the range of what, 81 to 97, 16 spots. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys going to be flying off the board. Exactly what DJ was talking about there, man. When he was talking about, the positions, toughest positions to stack this year, running back and safety. There's a clump of guys with the same exact grades. I think we see a huge run on both positions, late second to mid third. So what's going to kick that off too are these two guys right here, Tyler Nubin, once he goes, and Cam Kinchins once he goes. Now the press is going to be on for everyone else to try to get their guy. So it is worth noting too, Cam Kinchins, according to the 33rd team, they got a 6.7 grade on him. That's the same grade as Tyler Nubin, right? Now on my board, I've got Tyler Nubin at 28. I've got Javon Bullard at 62, and then I've got Cam Kinchins at 82. So I've got him significantly lower. I've actually got Javon Bullard, like I said, quite a bit higher than Cam Kinchins. So that's kind of how that board falls. Man, we're at the 45-minute mark. Holy cow.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm telling you, dude. Sometimes I get on here, I'm like, man, I feel like we're just trying to stretch a show out. We've hit on a few prospects, and we're almost up against the gun. I look forward to the day, Tim, that we can do a 3-hour show, man, where it's just hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, just roll with it like the McAfee show does. We'll get there. So
I'm with it.
Jacob, let's wrap up with the topic that you sent to me, man. And again, I should credit the listener. I can't remember if it was in a text or if it might have been on the page in the Patreon group, which by the way, guys, appreciate y'all joining the Patreon group. It's awesome communicating with you guys in there. Everybody's sending me DMs in there, and it's a lot easier to kind of keep up with them. We're going to include you guys into the show that way as well, and also get you entered into the giveaways. But it was mentioned talking about some of these players, Jacob, and that are visiting with the Packers. Now, this can get a little bit confusing. I'm not going to BS y'all and pretend like I completely understand. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Easton Butler on Twitter, who's kind of keeping up with this stuff, right? He sent a series of tweets out and kind of connected them together almost like a thread. And I've got all 4 of the tweets. Now, this first one starts off, it says Packers formal visits during the combine, right? It says 20 of 30, and he's got them listed out. But then he tweeted out at the bottom of that as well, this right here says top 30 visits, 7 of 30. So that's something different, it sounds like, right, Jacob? That's the official top 30 visits. Is that correct?
I believe so. I'm still kind of fuzzy on that, but I do think that's correct. Yeah.
Let's start with this list here since it's a little bit shorter. And like you said, he's got 7 of the top 30 visits listed. Offensive lineman Zach Zinter, cornerback Jerrion Jones, cornerback Jaquan Shepard, which is a name I haven't heard very often. Linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. Some people think he's the best linebacker in the draft. I think I've got him listed as the 5th best linebacker in the draft. Trayvon Wallace, the 33rd team, are real big on. You've got defensive lineman Michael Hall out of Ohio State, and then you got defensive tackle Christian Boyd, which pretty cool. One of the listeners actually brung him up here in the chat. We worked him into the board, and I think he's somewhere at the 140 spot on my big board. So let's start with Zach Zinter here and just try to take a look on the board and kind of where he sits. Let's go back to the let's see if we can go back to the horizontal board, because I really like the way that kind of shows you where everyone is. And let's see where Zach Zinter is, and we'll keep pulling this up and back down. So Zach Zinter to start off with here. Where do we have him at on the list?
6'4".
6'4"?
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah. So he's the bottom of the 6'4". So he's in that same range with Beebe and Von Prawn from Georgia. Then you got Zinter from Michigan. How do you feel about Zinter?
I think the only reason he's that low is because it's the injury. He was a dominant guard, and I actually just watched some random video. I'm not really a Michigan guy, but I will acknowledge that's one of the greatest franchises or teams in college football. Like, just that atmosphere is unbelievable. Apparently, there was when Zinter's injury happened, like, it was devastating. The team went silent. The stadium went silent. All of a sudden, there was like this massive kind of like team started chanting his name. Kind of, it was really emotional. I can't remember if it was like maybe it was Kirk Herbstreit or one of the other announcers that was like, it was one of the most emotionally charging things I've ever been a part of. He described it, and I was like, oh man, I want that guy. And I just hope that the injury's not too drastic, that he can make a solid comeback, because I don't remember his PFF grades, but I want to say that he was pretty dominant, like all 3 years. And again, at just Big Ten linemen, plug him and play him. I just think they're that good.
Yeah, definitely. Milltown Corey points out Packers love drafting the players they bring in for top 30 visits the last couple of years. I believe, if I remember correctly, Devontae Wyatt was one of those guys, wasn't he? And like you said, there's several people that they bring in for top 30 visits and they end up drafting. So Zach Zinter is currently sitting in the 103 spot, according to the 33rd team. Now, you're talking about, Jacob, the injury probably drove him down, right? That's what it seems like it looks on my board. I've actually got him in the 61 spot. So, 42 spots higher on my big board. Now, keep in mind, I don't look at the injuries. I'm simply going through the data through the season, Tim. We talked about this, the PFF grades from the past, consensus big board in season, all that good stuff, how they finished, if you will. So, Zach Zinter might be one of those guys, man. What do you think, Tim? Will you be all right with this one?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And injuries are tough, especially, coming into making that big step in your career as a young player, but we've seen guys, work through it and they do just fine. I'm with you, Clayton. I'd almost rather, when your body's younger and, you're able to recover a little better, get through that and have yourself a nice career, barring anything crazy down the road. So I don't think it's too big of a risk at all. Zinter's clearly that dude, and we clearly need help on that line. So, I got no problems with him.
And I think he was predominantly right guard most of his career.
Is that right?
So that'd be pretty.
There you
cool.
go.
Man,
how about Joe Hulen right here? That's another good point, dude.
Yeah. Coach Lynn says they would do a top 30 visit on guys they want as undrafted free agents, also like Ben Sims. If I remember correctly, same type of thing with Sam Shields, I think, was one that they bring in for a visit way back in the day. They end up taking him as an undrafted free agent. That's something they like to do. That's the old Ted Thompson tactic. Now, it seems like Goody isn't as aggressive with it as Ted Thompson is or was. Ted Thompson would do that a lot. He's like, hey, look, we got enough tape on these guys. Let's get to know these guys that many people are probably overlooking and see if it makes sense to sign them. So, Ron Samuel in the chat says Zinter is a no-brainer if healthy. I'm sure that's what the top 30 was for. That's a great point, too. Kind of get him in there and get a look at everything, right?
We can finally put one Eric Sutherland message up on the board telling you to look at Boyd, maybe the only legitimate message I've ever typed on here.
He was the one that night, right? Yeah. See, Eric, when you get your head out of the gutter, dude, good things happen. The problem is it never happens.
Beat us at the same thing. Like, great minds think alike.
I love it.
Like I said, he wasn't even on my board, and I try to break my board off at about the 150 mark. But since the listeners have been so engaged this year, people messaging in the chat, sending me DMs, sending texts and everything. Hey, check this guy out. That's what I'm wanting. I think my board is up to over 200 people now. So I'm just trying to, on the bottom side there, get the listeners, hey, here's a guy I like. Okay, cool. Let's run him through the system. Some of them have turned out bad. Don't get me wrong. Some of them ended up like in the 300 range. But it's good to kind of comb through some of those late round guys. Let's go rapid fire here. We're at the 52-minute mark. Let's get through the rest of these. Jerrion Jones, cornerback out of Florida State, is another one. And if we were to take a look at cornerback,
I really love him. Clayton, you do not have him ranked that high on your board, but he is consistently one of those guys that's maybe most fluctual that I've seen. He's down pretty low here.
Is he on the 33rd team as well?
Right there.
Right.
On him.
Yeah, so they got him in the 180 mark, the 22nd best corner with a 5.9 grade. And you said you're pretty high. Didn't he have some slot experience, Jacob? Am I thinking right?
Oh, he's multifaceted for sure. So he's one of those guys that he might be more of a outside corner, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, he graded out really well, and he went up against some good talent. So I think that he's a little. I mean, look at the guys that he's right around right there. If I can just bring that back. He's right there with Max Melton, right there with freaking Cam Hart, right there with Elijah Jones, right there with McLaughlin. So he's not being underrated. I think that could be a good pick.
No, yeah, that's a great point, man. There's some big names there. Max Melton's one that some people think could go in the second round. Some people think he's going to drop to the fifth. It's going to be interesting to see what's smoke and mirrors and what isn't. All right, let's see your next visit. We got Jaquan Shepherd from Maryland.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well, let's
Here's
see.
a guy that I've never heard of.
Knows about.
That's who we're gonna pick in the second round.
That's why we're doing this, though, right? We got to get him on the radar.
Goody is going to take someone early, and we're going to go, who? Exactly. Going to be the old Snoop Dogg. We're going to be dropping that a lot in the draft, guys. I promise you that. When we're live for the draft, about 80% of the picks will be who?
It'll be who, and it'll be.
What's his last name again? Shepherd? Do you think there's a chance they got him listed as a safety? There's Braid, right? He played for Maryland, right? So they don't even have him on their board. That could be one of those UDFA guys, right? That we were just talking about, that they're doing top 30 visits with. So
that's a good point.
That might be one there. Next is Edrin Cooper, of course, linebacker. We talked a lot about him. When you look at the linebacker position, they've got Colson, Gray, Wilson all in 6.6 at the top of the list, then Trayvon Wallace at 6.5. And then you got to drop way down to the next cluster. So Edrin Cooper, they've got him at 152. On my board, I've got Edrin Cooper at 86. So I'm a little easier on Edrin Cooper, but I've got several different linebackers that I've got graded higher than him. Again, Junior Colson at 50, Peyton Wilson at 63, Cedric Gray at 66, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at 75, and then Edrin Cooper. So it's kind of how my board currently sits. So Edrin Cooper is one that's on that list. Jacob, do you got any kind of opinion on Edrin Cooper? Either you guys, Tim, Jacob, do you guys feel either way about him? Or I swear, man, I feel like I'm the only person that's kind of, well, other than the 33rd team, that's kind of down on him. And I'm not near as down on him as the 33rd team is. But how do you feel about him, man?
I personally I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I've watched his tape and I can see this or see that. I don't know, because it seems I trust the evaluations of guys that have done this for a long time. I watched him on tape and I thought he's good, but it's like what that means translating to the next level, I don't know. But if he's one of the top 5 linebackers, I think it's worth taking a stab at, at him in the first 3-4 rounds at least. So I wouldn't be mad if we take him, and if he's a bust, I don't care. Or I shouldn't say I don't care, but I understand that sometimes you can't evaluate. You don't know what you're getting.
Yeah,
and
Tim,
sometimes there's guys that are evaluated and they're highly sought after. They're going to be the next great thing, and they're a dumpster fire. It goes both ways. You don't really know until you put the pads on and get on the field with the big boys in the NFL how you're going to perform. So I do like the fact that at least we know he's a will, according to the 33rd team. So it clears up any uncertainty we might have had. So if you're looking at, need and, position and stuff like that, I mean, will is, something that's probably going to be something we need to address, right? We talked about our middle linebacker situation. So it's good to know he's a will.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing about Edrin Cooper to me is again, I like to go back to as soon as the college season ends, what were people saying about him, right? Before everybody falls in love with him at the combine. So he was the 383rd graded linebacker in 2022, according to PFF. Then in 2023, he's the second highest graded linebacker, right? So he took a huge jump. At the end of the season there, he was 51st on the consensus big board, if I remember correctly. The 33rd team, of course, at one point when I first put the information in, was 126 on their board. But you guys know we think the world of Daniel Jeremiah. I love the way he breaks down these prospects. He's got him number 20 on his top 50. So he's got him even higher than most people do. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. And maybe the Packers feel the same way, guys. Maybe they're like, I don't know what to think about this guy. Let's get him in the building and find out. They may not be visiting with like a Junior Colson or a Peyton Wilson or some of these other guys because they know what they got. They feel confident that, okay, we've been able to evaluate them, right, from a distance. But I think there's a little bit of that too.
Is it crazy to ask this question that even though possibly the Packers, because of the way we've known how they've drafted for the last 30 years at least, is that if they have a guy, and I don't know this to be certain, but if they have a guy looking at their horizontal board, maybe at somewhat of an equal athletic range, maybe it's somewhat at an equal athletic area, but they're going to pick the guy with the highest character. Does that make sense? And maybe does that have to do with how they've actually formulated their draft? Because like we've talked about, man, we just, we get a guy with a weed charge every like 10 years, and that seems to be about it in Green Bay.
It's true, man.
And we don't have guys beating up women. We don't have guys dragging their cars into the ditch. We don't have guys doing.
They usually wait till after they leave Green Bay for that kind of stuff.
Tim,
I'm just saying that we have a that makes sense though. That's true, Tim, because it's known that in Green Bay that stuff ain't gonna fly, and you're gonna be out on your butt.
God, if we had the Randy Moss drop right now, we'd hit it when he said, it was T.O. Ain't a damn thing to do in Green Bay. Remember that sound drop? Hey, there's not a whole lot to get into up there, man. I think it's just all about ball. I think it's a good thing, man. But yeah, I agree, Jacob. I think there are, Packer types, right? Where it's like, all right, we're going to go for high quality, high character guys. I mean, you see Jordan Love, A.J. Dillon.
Aaron Jones was I think he's my favorite human. He caught a weed charge too, if you guys don't remember. But it's like
Aaron Jones did?
Yeah, look it up.
Jones on the Giggle Bush. Holy cow, I didn't know this. Was that in college or what?
No, I think that was when he was with the Pack too.
Oh, Jacob, I don't know about this, man.
Better pull it up. Jamie,
pull it up.
Guys
Look
in the
at
chat,
Tim.
let me know if I'm crazy.
Tim ain't Googling for weed.
I would never disregard his name unless I thought that was for sure. But I think that he got like a minor one, like a tiny.
Who is this?
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah, that was. Oh my God, that was a nothing
He's
burger.
like a rookie.
Tim, explain the nothing.
That was a nothing burger. They found they probably found like a
roach.
piece
Tim
of a
said
joint.
it was basil. Tim said it was basil in the car. That's all it was. A little oregano. We're good, man. No big deal.
Well, we do have LaTroy Guy on. We have that whole. I don't know if you guys are keeping up with that. That's kind of a little cringy. He was arrested again recently, but
really,
that's a indication of the fact that everyone goes through their own crap, right? And that's has nothing to do with being a Packer or not. It's just the type of person you are. And let's be real, a lot of times when football is over, you kind of there's some emptiness you can feel as a player, and I can see how guys get themselves caught up in nonsense. But no, to bring it back full circle, like that's always been a minimum up here, and I'm grateful for it. Like Carly Ray saying, right here in the chat, that's why I'm a Packer fan. I want to root for players I respect. You want players that get it. We've seen it plenty of times where you get a guy that's up here. He may have all the talent in the world, but he's just not that caliber of person that fits in well up here, and they don't usually stick around very long. So it's the standard, and I like it. That goes back to those old days, right? The Lombardi era, and it's not about just being a great player. You got to be a great man and be an example for your teammates and for your community, and what it means to be a Packer. So that's why we do it, right?
Absolutely. William Gould says Jacob is correct. I like what Coach Lynn said here. I'd rather them smoke than be drinking every night. Listen,
trust me, that's true. All right?
Everybody's opinion is formulated off their past experience. My past experience, I have seen alcohol ruin lives. I have never seen a little giggle bush ruin lives. That's just me personally. I'm not condoning it. This ain't a PSA. I'm just saying. I completely agree with what Coach Lynn's saying there. Everything in moderation, though.
Can I read one excerpt quick just because I think it's hilarious?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's from an article. It says Jones, 22, was pulled over traveling 79 miles an hour in a 55 per hour zone. Per that report, the state trooper Dylan Larson smelled marijuana coming from the vehicle. Jones told him that he had smoked 3 hours prior while eating breakfast. I love Aaron Jones even more now.
Mike Hebring in the chat says Jones in 2016 pleaded not guilty to counts of speeding, driving without a valid license, and operating a vehicle with a controlled substance in his system. There you go. So, all right. Appreciate it.
That's the worst thing you ever done in your life. You're a saint in my eyes. So
I would have to concur. I would. And I can't put Eric Sutherland's chat on the screen, but
he's absolutely right, though.
Yeah. I'll paraphrase it here, all right, or give it a little censorship. He said 2 types of people in this world: good people and pieces of poopy. That's it. All right. So there you go. Let's get through this. We can do it, guys. We have to be quick. Traven Wallace, linebacker from Kentucky. All right. That's one that gets me excited because it's Kentucky. Although I'm not very high on Traven Wallace. But if we slide down the board here just a touch, let's see where we at linebacker. Got to slide over. Dang it. They're working me to death over here, man. All right. So, Traven Wallace, they had pretty high, didn't they, fellas?
I got him up high. He's our 4th ranked linebacker.
Yeah, so they got him as the second ranked will linebacker, only behind, I guess, Edgerrin Cooper, right? And 61 overall out of Kentucky. And of course, I do not have him in my top 100. He's significantly lower, but I love the fact that the 33rd team showing some love to old Kentucky boy there. That gets me excited, man. All right, let's see. Next on the list is defensive lineman Michael Hall from Ohio State. So if we hop over to defensive line, let's see what we've got here. We're looking for Michael Hall from Ohio State. There he is. He is in the 5.9 range. He's the 153rd ranked player, the 12th ranked defensive tackle out of Ohio State. And I do not have him in my top 100 as it sits right now. That could change as things continue to shift around. And then the final one we'll hit on is our boy Christian Boyd, Eric Sutherland's guy. Let's see where the 33rd team's got him. I think we've looked at this before, but let's take another quick gander here and see if we could find him. Christian Boyd. Was he even on the 33rd team's board? It seems like he might not have been.
I don't think they liked him. I don't know if they moved him to a D end or something like that, but if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they didn't have him on there.
Yeah, so they don't have him on the board. When I worked him into my board, though, like I said, I think he finished somewhere in the 140 range, I think. Let me double check here. If I remember correctly.
Northern Iowa. Where's he?
Yeah, he's going in the third in most PFF mocks and a lot of other ones I'm seeing. And he graded out really well too. I guess it's just a smaller school probably.
Yeah, I've got him in the 146 spot. Check this out. According to PFF in 2022, he was the 10th highest graded defensive lineman. And then in 2023, took a slight step back, right? He had the second best rate of pressure, says Mark Zambito. That's a good nugget. When I did the consensus,
Hall had that.
Oh, Hall did. Okay, cool. Christian Boyd. When it comes to Christian Boyd, what brung him down on my board was the consensus big board at the end of the season was 300. Okay. He's not on the PFF. DJ hasn't released his top 150 yet, so we don't have that information. So really what it came down to was great PFF grades. Consensus big board didn't like him. Consensus big board isn't the tell-all end-all, right? So don't be surprised if he does go in the third round, maybe even the second, man. They're wanting to build those trenches out.
There's no 6'4", 317. That's he's
great size there, man.
Hitting the measurables for the spot. So
definitely. All right, we are at the hour and 6 minute mark. If you guys are watching it here, especially over on X, well, first of all, if you're on YouTube, hit that like button for us. Subscribe to the channel. That helps boost the algorithm, helps other Packer fans find this channel, find this content. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. And also, if you're on X, you can click on my profile here on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. You'll see a YouTube link to our page. You can click on that, subscribe to the channel there, give it a like, a follow, all that stuff. We really, really appreciate it. Again, it's cool that in the offseason we got, 240 people in here just wanting to kind of break down prospects, dig through the information, and get ourselves ready for the draft. So love this stuff. So, all right. Tim, anything else you got, bub?
I'm excited, man. Draft time's upon us. We're almost there. Looking forward to building the plan for the draft night shows and being with you guys on a live stream. You know, like you said, Clayton, we do one of those marathon streams here at some point. You know, do a good 2-hour, 3-hour show. Think about this. For all the effort and everything we're doing to get ready for the draft, think about all the fun we're going to have after the draft, dissecting these picks and figuring out, where they're going to play, who's going to make the team, who's going to get cut. I mean, it's going to be fun. So I'm just looking forward to the rest of the spring here.
Yeah. So basically leading up to the draft is going to be shows like this. We're going to continue to dig into the prospects. You're going to get those top 30 visits filled in. You're going to have information dropping in real time. We're going to follow DJ and his mock drafts. When he releases his top 150, we'll have that. We'll have a ton of information we're going to be sharing with you guys. Like Tim said, as soon as the draft happens, it's chalk talk time, baby. We're going to pull the Packers draft picks, and we're going to do chalk talk episodes of every single draft pick. Find some of their college highlights, talk about what they did good, what they did bad, and just have some fun with that. And then when we hit the dead period, before training camp starts, we're going to dig into the Packers history and try to get through that whole history documentary, all that stuff too. So we're going to have content all year long. It's going to be awesome. So Jacob, you got anything else, bub?
No, man. I just, reiterate that this time we've now done this. Is this our third season, Clayton, that we're kind of,
this is going to be the third draft. Yeah. This will be
So-
our first ever draft show, though, which is really exciting.
I was going to say, this is the first time where we actually have our own PTA draft show. I can't tell you guys how much this has made me excited, because it's like when I was a passing Packer fan, quote unquote, I'd watch it when it started, week one. I wouldn't even watch preseason back in the day, because I was like, it doesn't matter. It is
Right.
so much more involved all throughout the year. If you really do want to be a Packer fan and want to know everything about your team, this is the show to watch. We're going to dive into this stuff every single day, and it gets more exciting with each passing year, because now we learn about what's happening, the different contract signings, the different offseason stuff, the different draft stuff, the different post-draft stuff, the PTA, the OTAs. I mean, it's just, there's not enough time, honestly. We think that we can come on here on most shows and we're like, we're not going to fill an hour. Now look at us. We got to go. All right, I'll stop talking. It's just fun, man. It's fun.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Who in the hell is Mel Kiper, anyway?
Oh, hey. Well, I don't even know. I was going to
We don't-
say, we might
don't
be.
need no Kuiper. What?
We're kind of finding our groove too, is what's awesome, man. We're just getting started. Dave's MX6 Garcia says, y'all coming to Wisconsin for our draft next year? Absolutely. We've already got everything pretty much planned, man. I'm embarrassed to say the amount of money that I already put into this draft trip, but I'll tell you, it's going to be money well spent. So we'll be there in person. It's going to be a lot of fun. We definitely want to meet up with some folks during the day. I'd love it if we could. It's going to be hard to pull off, but I'd love it for us and a few listeners to kind of get together, grab lunch or something. You know what I mean? Have a cold beer and get ready for the festivities. What's cool is we're going to be hanging out around the draft all day, but then when the draft starts, we're going to go back to our HQ. We got an HQ already locked down, and we're going to be doing our live draft show from that spot in Green Bay, which is really cool. So it's not going to be a house party, okay? So just understand that. But we're gonna meet and greet with everybody during the day and kind of take in the festivities, and then get back and do the draft party. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about it, man. But this year's draft, what's crazy is we're talking about next year's draft, and we're like, man,
We got this year's
away, and we got this year. It's so exciting, dude. Absolutely. We got the whole football season. Come on, man. It's going to be great. But I can't thank y'all enough for, like I said, just connecting with us. It's been an absolute blast. I'm going to give a shout out again to our newest Patreon members, David James, Greg in Green Bay, and Rich Beck. Appreciate you all jumping on board there. And again, I'm going to try to sit down and brainstorm and try to come up with some ways that we can incorporate y'all into the show, like with ideas and, hey, topics. Hey, what do you guys think about this? Maybe do a poll question for the PTA Posse members at Patreon. And again, a reminder as we get ready to sign off here. If you are a member on YouTube of our PTA Posse, go ahead and cancel that, okay? Because what's going to happen is at any point, YouTube could remonetize the channel and you guys are going to get charged with that. I do not want that to happen. We just shifted the Posse completely over to Patreon, so we're good to go there. I cringe at the thought that some of y'all, and I know it's $2-3. I get you. Most people are rolling around like that's nothing. To some people it is, and I would just hate for that to happen. So go ahead and cancel that and jump over to Patreon. And like I said, we got a whole little chat section in there where we can do polls and stuff like that for the show. I need to start doing a poll every day for the show and ask you guys a question, and we can kind of hit it as just a passing topic every day. I think that would be a cool little perk to be a part of the PTA Posse as well. And also, we're going to be giving away an autographed Paul Hornung jersey for the during round 1 of the NFL draft this year. So get ready for that. Everybody who's a PTA Posse member on Patreon will be entered onto the wheel. We got a cool little wheel that we're creating too. I'll give you a hint right here, but it's going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be fun. We'll get that. One thing I want to do too, man, and we try to find charities to help support. So that's going to be coming up after that round 1 in the draft. I think I've got an autographed, it's either a Robert Brooks or an Antonio Freeman jersey that I would like to find a random GoFundMe, someone who's, kind of hit hard times. And then we could all go, okay, let's throw in on it. And if however many dollars you enter in, you're going to put yourself on the wheel to win this cool piece of memorabilia, because we want to help people out as much as we can, man. That's something that we take real serious here. So Eric Sutherland said, I'll be in Green Bay for the draft. It's going to be epic. Eric, you might get a VIP pass to headquarters. I'm just being honest, man. You're just crazy enough. I think I'd like to have you in the room.
Hold on, wait a minute. Mike Berry calling out some weird shots over here.
Yeah. Hey, that's what it's going to be. The pinky wheel, man. He knows.
Sure about that?
I know it sounds weird, but Yeah, it's going to be awesome, man.
Thank
I
you,
love
Bebe.
the fact that, like, if someone had never watched this show and they come in here, 90% of the stuff they're going, what the hell are they talking about? But if you hang around it's just like The Office. If you hang around just long enough, you get all these little, inside jokes. So anyway, like Emilio's race car bed, which we got to make that Photoshop happen. I got to make that happen soon. So, yeah. All right, we're out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Hour and 14 minutes because y'all won't stop talking about nonsense in the chat. But here we go. United Bates, I'm planning on going out to the 25 draft. Would be an awesome experience. So, yeah, dude, that would be, yeah. Again, we just need to hook up and all, like I said.
Carly's bringing her kids. Oh, jeez.
There you go. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, man.
That's what we're going to put Eric to work for. He's going to be the babysitter. Wait a minute. Never mind.
Charlie, think that one through. Think that through. You'll come back to pick your kids up, and you'll have them doing keg stands and stuff, man. It'll be out of control, I guarantee you. So, all right, we're out of here, man. We talked about Giggle Bush. We talked about headstands. Emilio's MIA. I hope he's okay. He's probably down there in the clink and blood.
At least he's not. At least he doesn't have to sit here and look at this chat.
Yeah. M City. Emilio in My Little Pony PJs Photoshop also needs to happen. I'm on it. I'm on it right now. We'll get that done. Right, stay tuned. All right, everybody have a great night. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Again, a special shout out to just everyone joining on Patreon and everything. It's awesome to have y'all on board over there. And everyone in the chat here, guys. You don't have to be a part of the Patreon to be included here, man. I dread the day that the show gets so big that we can't include, the majority of the people in the show itself. But we're at an hour and 15 and we don't want to stop looking at the chat. That's just what you guys and gals have created. It has nothing to do with us, man. Just the community that's here in the chat is just absolutely awesome. So, all right, we're out. Appreciate y'all. We will see you tomorrow for PTA Live. I'm going to try to get Paul Brettel on too for this coming Thursday. I want to get Paul Brettel locked down on a mock draft. That's what I want. I want to see his mock draft, explain what you've seen, that type of thing. I guarantee you we'll all come away going, yep, of course. We overlooked that. It happens every time we talk to Paul Brettel. So the other thing, too, I'm going to reach out to Gary Ellerson, and I'd like to get his take on this running back room. And because running back keeps getting brought up this offseason. You know what I mean? I'd like to get his take on that. I'm going to see if we can get him on. I know he's a busy man. And, of course, we're going to have Mike Wall back on soon. We got a bunch of people lined up, that type of thing. So thanks to everybody hanging out with us. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And go, Pat, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. Yes, our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.